The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, welcome back. This is Am I Mental, a live weekly podcast where real people share real experiences living with mental health issues. I am your host, E, and with us, I'm going to start saying, as always, because this has been one of my ride or dies, co-host Bexy's on with us.
Hi guys, how are you doing tonight?
All right, so I know that some of you may be listening, having saw the advertisement on Facebook about what was going to be the subject. You know, we were going to have someone who had been in a car accident and had an amputation, but if you saw the latest Facebook post, that person had to back out. They just got home yesterday or 2 days ago, and they're just trying to adjust, so we're not going to be able to bring them on right now. We are rescheduling. I am still in constant contact with them. They absolutely do want to come on. So yeah, in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and have Bexy open up so you can get to know the co-host a little bit better.
Well, I'm more than happy to, step up and kind of fill the gap, as it were. I really do wish all the best for our guests that had to cancel. I completely understand why that needed to happen. It was just too soon and too fresh.
And
so
that's what they said too. It's too soon.
Sending her all kinds of love and support, because they really are an amazing person. And I'm just gonna jump right into this. I'd like to discuss today something that is very much has a very big effect on my life, and that is autoimmune diseases and their effect on your mental health. I have been diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And if you don't know what that is, it is the most common thyroid disorder in the world. It is the most common form of thyroiditis. And it is an autoimmune disease, which basically means that my immune system is malfunctioning and constantly attacking my body. And there are a lot of side effects that can go along with this. There are a lot of things that I go through that most people wouldn't know I had an autoimmune disease to look at me. It's an invisible illness, and it can be overwhelming, and it can be very scary, and it definitely has It definitely has an effect on my mental health, especially on bad days when I'm in the middle of a flare-up. This is, a disease that affects 14 million people in the United States alone, which is baffling to me because I had never heard of it until I was diagnosed with it.
Right, and we were talking a little bit pre-show, and it's like, I had heard of it, but, I sometimes get bored when I'm working and I sit online, for 40 hours a week, and I just dive right on in looking for what's the weird shit out there that I've never heard of. And I found Hashimoto's disease back in like 2002, 2003.
Yeah, this went undiagnosed in me for a very, very, very long time. I have had issues all of my life that once I really started to open up to my doctor and tell him all of this is when he decided to check my thyroid levels. And that's when they found out that I have Hashimoto's. There are so many side effects. And, this is something that women are 7 times more likely to be diagnosed with this.
Yeesh.
Which is, really, really crazy. And if you have Hashimoto's, more than likely you are at very high risk for other autoimmune diseases like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis, or the myriad of other autoimmune diseases that are out there.
So it's the gateway disease.
It is. I mean, this is actually something that I didn't realize it at the time. I'm also diabetic. I'm diabetic because of the Hashimoto's, not because I was diabetic before I had it. The Hashimoto's was undiagnosed. And yeah, it can cause you to become type 2 diabetic.
Wow. And you may have just seen the look on my face. The shock.
I did.
So yeah, we were already getting some comments here. Okay. We have, of course, Ivania gave us her best Mrs. Doubtfire impression early on. Ariel said that this is going to be super relatable. We got Bob on here again. It says, hello, B&E. And Ariel said that she also has Hashimoto's and had a goiter the size of a baseball on my thyroid when I was diagnosed. And
yeah, I cannot imagine that. I mean, I know that happens. That's one of the side effects that I was wanting to talk about. Some people do actually get the goiters on their thyroid where it just like kind of blows up and it looks like you have this big ball on your neck. I'm lucky enough that I didn't get that. But I have my thyroid is pretty much fried now. And
we also have Kat. My sister has Hashimoto's, rheumatoid arthritis, and type 1 diabetes. And hi, everyone. And then Ivania again. Gateway disease? You make it sound like a party. Well, not all parties are good.
It's hardly... It's not a good party if it's a party, let me tell you.
This sounds like the Nazi party kind of parties here.
And there's actually... if you are type 1 diabetic, you are more likely to get Hashimoto's. That's another thing that I was... I came across. I was amazed by that.
Wait, so diabetes could lead to Hashimoto's for type 1 diabetes?
Yes, and Hashimoto's can lead to diabetes. It's a vicious circle.
Wow.
It's the only treatment for it at the moment is thyroid replacement hormone therapy. Basically, so if you have Hashimoto's, you're going to be on synthetic thyroid medicine for probably the rest of your life. There are certain... I know that sometimes if it's caught early enough and people are lucky enough, it can be, I don't want to say reversed, but it can be very, very manageable, and you can,
basically, it sounds like you can prevent your thyroid from getting fried.
Yes, you can. Unfortunately, my thyroid is pretty much gone. My body has been attacking it for so long because with Hashimoto's, the hormones that your thyroid produce are treated as a virus or a bacteria, and your white blood cells attack constantly. Oh. So there's always inflammation, and it's hell on your immune system. I have a crappy immune system because of this. And also with Hashimoto's, mental health issues occur really, really early. Depression and anxiety.
Well, I can imagine. I mean, hormones are so important.
A lot of the things, when you have a Hashimoto's flare-up, it can be hell. There's fatigue and aches and pain in your joints, and the depression gets worse. There are memory lapses and issues that I call it's brain fog. I mean, I can walk around and I'm here having an intelligent conversation right now. On a bad day, this would not happen.
Right, I've seen a bad day.
I would not be able to concentrate. I would not be able to put a sentence together like this. There are other issues that, they may not seem like a big deal, but I mean, they're kind of like, I guess I would call them like vanity issues, like the thinning hair and the hair loss and the brittle nails and those the weight gain that can occur. Those are very much they're not dire side effects, but they definitely play into like your self-image and everything like that, which
that plays into mental health too.
Exactly. And there are other things like the cold sensitivity. I know all of my friends know that in the wintertime, I'm constantly telling them, yeah, it's too cold. I can't do this. It's too cold. Because
so basically you need to move to Ecuador.
Yeah. I mean, my hands and feet are the most sensitive, and they have the most nerve damage from everything. And anything under 65 degrees, and my hands and feet are freezing.
Wow.
And
we do have a couple of questions coming up now.
Okay.
If you don't mind. So we have Richard asking, how do you get diagnosed with Hashimoto's, and what are the signs for it?
Okay. Well, I was diagnosed. They have to do a blood test and check your thyroid hormone levels, and your doctor can tell you if they are too high or too low. With me and my Hashimoto's, my thyroid hormones were extremely low. So I am on right now 200 milligrams of synthetic thyroid hormone every day. Some of the signs are like a constant fatigue. And I don't mean just like, oh, I'm a little tired, I need to take a nap. I mean, you can sleep for 12 hours, wake up, and feel absolutely exhausted and have no will to do anything. It is horrible. Wow. Having low thyroid hormone is very surprising. It's very surprising to me how much that a thyroid, how much it affects your body, and I never realized. Another sign for women, and sorry guys, I know this is something you don't like to hear about, but a heavy menstrual cycle is another. A heavy or irregular menstrual cycle is another sign that something is off with your thyroid. There are also unexplained weight gain, very pale skin, the cold sensitivity, thinning hair, memory problems, the depression, a slowed heart rate can be a sign, and also issues with your guts. You can have a lot of intestinal issues with this. It's you're also usually, a lot of people end up being deficient in vitamins because of this, B12 and D vitamins specifically. And also you may find that you need to take supplements like zinc and selenium and iodine, because your body isn't making these things, or you're not ingesting them enough of them.
Wow.
There's a laundry list of supplements that I take every day: vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, a B vitamin complex, magnesium, selenium, potassium. Let's see, and I also take turmeric to help with the inflammation.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Ariel was saying that she's thankful that she didn't develop diabetes. And then Ivania, how long did you go undiagnosed? With a follow-up, were you relieved when you finally did get diagnosed?
I went undiagnosed probably for, let me see, when did I get my diagnosis? I'm trying to think back. I was probably diagnosed in my late 20s to early 30s. And I was absolutely relieved to find out that there was a reason why I felt the way that I did. And every other doctor that I had had before this, I had talked to, I had explained all of these symptoms and the problems that I have had since I was a child, basically. I mean, there were times when I talk about, having a heavy menstrual flow being a symptom, I mean, there were times when I didn't stop for months at a time.
Whoa.
And every doctor always told me, it's because you're fat. It's because you're overweight that you're doing this. You lose weight and it won't happen.
Well, and you were saying that the weight gain could also be a part of it.
Yes, the weight gain is very much a part of it. And so finally getting a diagnosis, I went home and I cried. Because it wasn't... I finally had an answer. I finally had something that I could look at and say, okay, so it wasn't just, in my head. I felt like I was going crazy for a long time.
And that actually ties into Vanya's comment after her follow-up question, which was, even if there's nothing that can be done to cure it, sometimes it helps to know you're not crazy.
Exactly. It
Validating.
really did. She hit the nail on the head with that, because I felt like I was going insane for a very long time. And I remember, trying to lose weight, and I would literally eat nothing but lettuce and still gain weight. And I would think, how is this possible when I have, cut calories drastically and nothing is working? And now I know it's because my thyroid wasn't working, and I just never realized. I never realized how big of an effect it had on every aspect of my life, and especially my mental health, because there are days when I'm so down that it's hard to see the bright side, and I have to look and I have to think, you know, it, it's a bad. It's not going to be like this forever. It's not going to be like this forever.
Right.
And the good days help me get through the bad days, and I'm very grateful that now I have more bad days than I have good. I mean, I have more good days than I have bad days. God, that almost came out really wrong.
I was going to say, there's very few people out there that would actually want more bad days, but, I mean, you go.
That so came out wrong, but I'm really grateful that I have more good days than I have bad days now.
And go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, finding out that, a lot of the, I've had some medication adjustments recently that have really helped with some of the other side effects, like swelling. Because your immune system is constantly attacking your body. When you have Hashimoto's, sometimes your joints tend to collect fluid in them. And I mean, I know E has seen pictures of my hands, my feet.
Mm-hmm.
He's seen how massively swollen they can get. And recently, due to a medication change and an added diuretic, I'm actually not swollen anymore. And that's completely new for me, because I stayed that way for so long. There was always some kind of swelling. There was always some kind of pain. And I'm happy to say I'm relatively pain-free right now. And I'd forgotten what that feels like.
And that's awesome that you feel that. And Ariel also had a question. Do you also have hypothyroidism?
That's there's a difference between hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's. And yes, I have low thyroid, which is what hypothyroidism is. But the Hashimoto's is where it goes one step farther and your body actually attacks itself, which I know Ariel knows, as she has it too.
Yes.
But yeah, I actually have the low thyroid hormone too. That's why I'm on such a, I don't know what the highest dose of synthetic thyroid anybody's ever been on, but I feel like 200 milligrams is a pretty high dose.
That might be something to look up.
Yeah, that's one thing I probably should have looked up in my, in my research that I was doing for this, and I was jotting down and making some notes so that I didn't forget to, make a point that I wanted to get across. I know that what really sucks about sometimes is that the flare-ups can be caused by stress. So if I get sick, that's stress on my body, and then I'm going to have a flare-up. If I'm stressed about a situation, work, home, life in general, whatever, it could cause a flare-up. And, any kind of mental health stress, it could cause a flare-up.
That sucks.
It really does.
It's like stress has enough of a physical toll by itself to begin with.
It does. And then when you add crippling depression on top of it, and the, intense pain of the joint swelling and the myriad of other things, you add brain fog on top of that, and it's hell to go through. And
So,
I wouldn't wish this on anybody.
so I have a question for you.
Okay.
With your, whole battery of medications and supplements that you take, and you having brain fog, do you use those like pill kits so that way you don't accidentally double dose?
I actually do. I set it up I have 2 weeks worth at a time set up in 2 different kits. And one of them is in a drawer that's full for the next week, and then I'll pull that out as I need it. But I have morning and night medicines.
Okay.
And so every morning I take my handful of normal prescribed meds, and in the evening I take all the supplements, because the selenium and magnesium and potassium, they help with sleep. The potassium helps with the leg cramps and things like that. And, you need some of the other stuff to help you just kind of even out, and they help me sleep
Nice.
better.
And then when you were answering about the diagnosis and how when you were talking about how you were finally validated, you weren't feeling crazy. And I mean, everyone heard it, and I could see it. You were getting choked up over it. Ivania was saying that she could feel it in her soul and hear it in your voice. I don't have the same diagnosis, but it took forever for me to get one for my issue, and I was so relieved. Doctors are dicks. Followed by, agreed, doctors are dicks. Dr. Cranium, Dr. Richard Cranium. As some doctors really need to hang up their stethoscope, definitely dickheads. With Ivania, the speaker of truth, promoting yourself there a little bit. And then Bob at the end there, better living through chemistry. Amen.
Yes, definitely. I am a big fan of anything that helps someone ease their pain and make their lifestyle, easier and more comfortable. I mean, if I will never bash anybody for, say, taking a supplement or a pill that helps them to feel better, because it's amazing sometimes what a little thing can do. A capsule of turmeric every day helps me greatly. And I mean, that's not something I ever would have thought of until a mutual friend of ours mentioned that they take it and it helps them a lot.
Oh, nice.
And so I decided to try it, and oh my goodness, she was right.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I read a little bit about turmeric. I mean, and there's some places out there that they're like, have a broken bone? Take turmeric. It's like, well, no.
No.
Not to help men, but it definitely has anti-inflammatory properties.
Yes.
And that's been proven.
Yes, it does. And I consider myself kind of proof that, it does work. It helps greatly. And I'm not just going to, swallow a spoonful of turmeric every day. That's kind of disgusting. So I get the capsules, and I'll pop one of those every day. And
well, I mean, you could also cook with it. It is a spice, after all.
Yes, it is. It is. Unfortunately, my family, they're not going to be very happy if I start using all kinds of what they consider strange spices in the food. So I'll stick with, having taken the capsule, and it works for me. I never realized, how bad the bad days were until the bad days got not so bad. And I look back at myself, 3 or 4 years ago, and I was struggling with all of this, and not knowing that the Hashimoto's had such a bad effect on my mental health. I mean, there was a point where I was ready to be done with it all. I was in pain constantly.
Yeah,
and
this is about when we met.
Yeah, it was. And I didn't want to go on anymore, because I couldn't tolerate it. I didn't take anything. I didn't really take anything for the pain. Nothing really helped the pain. it was out of control, and to the point where, literally then I think the week before I met you, I was sitting at a table with a bottle of oxy in front of me, taking these pills because I didn't want to be here anymore.
I remember you telling me this story. I also remember there's a really awesome part of it, too. A certain someone that a lot of people think is an asshole reached out and proved that he's one of the kindest people on the planet.
He definitely did.
Go ahead, name drop this guy.
I'm going to, and this is I'm sorry, this is really, really, really emotional for me.
It's okay.
Because
we're here for you.
Because I'm so glad now that I'm here. I wouldn't trade this life that I have for absolutely anything. I'm amazed at how far I've come from the person that I was. But I sat there that night and I had this bottle of pills in front of me. And I was taking them, and I don't know why I hadn't been on Twitter for forever. And I started scrolling and I came across this post with this shirt on it. And this shirt was being sold by Mark Pellegrino of Supernatural, the man who plays Lucifer on Supernatural.
Yeah, and he's also on that. Was it?
He's also on 13 Reasons Why.
That's the one I was thinking of.
And a myriad of other things. He's
voiceover in Far Cry 4.
Yeah, 5.
Sorry, 5.
Yeah, he is. He is
genuinely an awesome person.
He really is one of the kindest people I've ever had the pleasure to meet.
He just doesn't deal with BS very well.
He really doesn't. But I made a comment on this post because his shirt said, "To reason, reality, and to this world, I say yes." And he had this shirt made because a very dear friend of his committed suicide. And this was his way to spread the message. The proceeds from this shirt went to a charity that, helps people dealing with depression and suicidal thoughts and things like that. I was really, really moved. That shirt made me stop and think. And lo and behold, this man responded to me. And I had no idea that he would take the time to talk to somebody like me. I considered myself a nobody at that time. And I started talking to him and on this thread. And through this thread, I met one of my other very best friends. And this woman, through her, I met E.
All right, and I absolutely love her. We butt heads at times. We both have very strong personalities. But she's my sister.
Between this woman and Mark and E, they're why I'm still here. And I can't count the number of times that I've sat and just been so completely grateful that I commented on this post, because had Mark not answered, had I not run into this angel of a woman that I absolutely adore, had I not met E when I did, I wouldn't be sitting here. After talking to Mark for a minute, I got up. I threw the rest of the pills I hadn't swallowed away, and I brought what I did swallow up. And I talked forever with this woman, and I can't count the number of times that I've leaned on her, I've cried on her shoulder, I have called her in the middle of the night because I needed somebody to talk to. I can't count the number of times that I've called E for the same reasons, because I just needed someone to listen, and both of them were always there. And
Hey,
as time went on,
when I commit to someone as a friend, I don't take that lightly.
As time went on, I found myself getting stronger and stronger, and I needed to lean on them less and less. And I know that even to this day, they both still worry about me. They always will.
Oh, yeah.
But I am infinitely stronger than I ever thought I could be.
Trust me, the worry is far less than where it once was. And we actually have a lot of comments through here.
Okay.
That was just a hey, good line there, or run there. So, going back to the whole thing about the turmeric, we have Ariel. I feel like people get more help from fellow sick people than doctors, which I followed up with, especially when you have similar diagnoses.
Yes, definitely.
I've seen that. Yeah. Anyway, and then like Ivania said that she's tried it 6 months religiously and it didn't help. Makes me sad. I know it does wonders for others. Then Ariel, I can't take it since it thins the blood.
Yeah, that's that is one of the things that I It's good for me that it thins the blood, because mine tends to be a little thick anyway, so it does like double duty for me. But it does. I know it's not for everyone. It's not a cure-all or anything like that. But for the people it helps, it does really work wonders.
And then once you started getting really heartbroken and letting it out, Kat sent hugs. Ariel, I'm so glad you guys met. You guys met. So Bexy is still here with a heart. Bob, I'm so glad you got help and you're telling this story with a bunch of hugs. Ivania, people don't understand what invisible disabilities look like on the inside. Whether it's mental or physical, you look fine. Well, I'm not. My heart is breaking for you. I get it. Crying is a sign of strength. With a well said Ivania by Ariel. And again, a repeat, so glad you're still here with a heart. And Kat, I'm very happy that you're here.
I'm really glad I'm here too. Believe me.
I had no idea I was going to have a new non-bio sister when I met you. I was like, who's this goofy person that's all like obsessed with penguins?
Yeah, that's me. Penguin obsessed, Bexy. That's just me.
And of course, a shout back to early days when we first met, that if anyone's listening from those days, talking about pineapple penguin pants.
Oh my god, yes. Oh, do you know there are still pineapple pants discussions going on?
I'm not surprised.
Well, there was this whole pineapple pizza debate, and then of course Lynn had to jump in with her pineapple goes in your pants, not on pizza. So
it can go with both. I love pineapple on my pizza.
I still have those pineapple pants, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome.
See, unlike my friend, I actually have pants that have pineapples printed on them.
You found your pineapple pants and you got them.
I did. I also have penguin pants.
So now you need to cut them in half and put one leg on one leg on the other, and then you have two pairs of pineapple penguin pants.
They're two different lengths. The pineapple pants are like capri pajama pants. And the penguin pants are long. So that would be... I'd have to hem the penguin ones.
Yep.
Or make the pineapples longer. But, I'm really glad that I'm still here. I'm really glad that a while after this happened, I actually got to meet Mark Pellegrino in person. The look on his face when he realized who I was absolutely priceless to me. I will never forget that, and the photographer actually happened to capture that.
Oh, perfect.
that perfect moment.
Yeah, I still have yet to meet him. He's followed me on a couple of my Twitter accounts. We've talked through DMs back and forth a few times. He is genuinely an amazing person, and I don't understand why he gets the hate that he does. I mean, I philosophically speaking, based on the philosophies with philosophical works that he follows and I follow, and I think we do, I get it. But it's just like looking at it, I also don't.
I don't understand it. I still see a lot of people who equate him with the character he plays and not the man that he is.
Right.
You know, they can't seem to get past that Lucifer facade. But the man is a big sweetheart. He's so funny and he's so intelligent.
He's basically the guy that you see on the first episode that he's on with Lucifer circling him. A heartbroken, sensitive, caring, loving individual.
Yes. And he is, I got, you know, thanks to a couple of mutual friends of ours, I got to have a meet and greet with him where I felt like I just yacked my head off about nothing, but he genuinely seemed to enjoy the conversation. We talked about video games and horror movies, and
dude, those are like his favorite things that I've learned over the years of, you know, chatting with him and following him.
And he looked at my tattoo, which, you know, he thinks is awesome and amazing. For those of you who don't know, after all of this, to commemorate my existence and to remind myself that I'm never alone and that I am stronger than I believe, I have a tattoo on my right forearm, and it is a purple devil emoji, and above it has part of Mark Pellegrino's quote from his t-shirt. It says, "I say yes," and underneath it he actually sent me his signature to tattoo on there. I have his name tattooed on my arm.
That is awesome.
He really liked that. He spent a good 10 minutes looking at my arm. He's like, "Man, they really nailed my signature. That's really good."
Yeah, actually, kind of a similar story about the signature thing. There's I had an uncle who passed away about 10 years ago. And he was like a second father to me. And he signed everything with, like Love and Laughter or Live, Laugh, and Love, or, you know, along those lines. And then his name. And someone actually got a tattoo of his signature with that little catchphrase. And, I mean, nailed the handwriting. I cried like a baby when I saw it.
Oh,
because I mean,
I think I know which one you're talking about there.
Oh, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And
that's
Bob was
amazing.
So Ariel, about the pants, when we were kidding around the two lengths, Ariel's like, "Do wild patchwork." Bob's like, "Make a fashion statement, one leg longer." And then Ariel's like, "I always wondered what the I Say Yes thing was from." And the cat, "Awesome tattoo. I want to see it." Well, maybe we can get her to take a picture of it and put it up on Facebook.
I will definitely put it up on the Facebook page after the podcast tonight. I have no issues doing that. It's by far, I have 6 tattoos. It's by far my favorite.
That's 6 more tattoos than I have.
It means, you know, the world to me that he actually allowed me to use his name. And, you know, I never expected him to say yes when I first asked him. And then later on I learned that, you know, like most men, he does like his ego strokes. So,
well, yeah, I mean, 10 minutes staring at his own signature on another person's arm, that's a little bit of an ego stroke.
I mean, it was...
And Mark, if you happen to listen to this, because I know I've invited you to the show before, I still love you, but, you get it.
You know, Mark, if you do listen to this, you should know that I absolutely adore you. I always have.
Send him this episode after the show's over. There's a URL. Just send it to him.
Oh, that's true. So yeah, this is, it's been a heck of a journey for me with my mental health and everything like that. I'm really grateful that I've met the people that I've met, and I have had the opportunity to correct my thinking about a lot of things, because there were a lot of things that I was really down on myself about for a long time. And they were things that I had pretty much been conditioned to believe since I was younger. And I never realized that they weren't true, because it's all I heard all my life. You can hear an untruth so many times that it becomes reality to you.
Right. Also known as the big lie.
Yes. And I didn't realize that I really did believe the big lie until someone told me differently. And it took me a while to wrap my head around that. I was like, how is it possible that these people that don't know me, these people on the internet are telling me they see all of these things and these amazing qualities in me, and I've never been told this before. They can't be right. There was a lot of disbelief at first, and
I still remember one of the first things I said about you was that you reminded me of a willow.
Yes.
You would bend with the weather, but you would never break.
Yes. I remember that. I think I've actually written something about that.
I was just walking through Safeway with my wife doing some shopping, and you were having a down moment, and I was like, you're stronger than you think you are. You're not like an oak, which is what you're trying to be. You're a willow, which is what you were. You've gotten more oak-like now. let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah, I'm definitely stronger now than I've ever been in my life. And there are things that, even recently, I'll get snarky, nasty comments or something, and where in the past that would have sent me spiraling into a depression for days, now I'm just like, asshole, go away.
Yeah, no, I remember those calls. You'd get something nasty said, and we'd be talking for days because it would just send you on such a spiral.
Yeah.
And then I still remember the day that exactly where I was standing when you told me that you told someone basically to F off.
Yeah.
And I was like, I fist pumped, I jumped up. I was so happy for you.
That was a good day. I remember that day too, because I'd never done that before. I'd never really just like taken matters into my own hands and been like, you know what, F you, I don't care. And now I can say that about anybody that has anything bad to say about me. You know what? I suggest you take that mirror that you're holding up to me, turn it around, and take a good long look at yourself, because I'm amazing, and you're never going to convince me I'm not.
Exactly. And that's a hard thing to accept and finally get in, especially when you have depression and everything else.
It really is. There are days, I will admit, there are days when I feel less amazing than I should. But
and some of the comments that you give, like when a guy is staring at you and the wife gets snarky, I love how you just snark right back. Like, stuff like, you're just jealous that your tits aren't as nice as mine. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I did do that. Yeah. I was shopping one day, bent over in a low-cut shirt, and somebody's husband was staring, and I got some really snarky comment from some lady calling me a whore, and I'm like, yeah, you're just jealous because my tits are bigger. Screw you.
So Ivania chimed back and saying, so backing up, I couldn't find the pants, but there are tons of stuffed penguins and pineapple suits on the interwebs.
I do not have a penguin wearing a pineapple. I need one.
You're going to get one now, I'm pretty sure. Bob says, they are correct in the statements about your amazing qualities. Ivania is laughing about the pineapple penguins. And then Ariel says, I really look up to your ability to do that, about being able to just brush it off. And imagine calling you a whore instead of calling out her husband. Right?
Yeah, I know, because it's obviously my fault for having breasts, right? I mean,
okay, Ariel, I have a confession to make. This is something that I've been waiting, that's been a long time coming. Do you remember the conversation that we had? And we were talking about people with like extreme hair colors typically have extreme hair colors because they are like they're in pain or they're in self-doubt or they have low self-esteem, stuff like that. And I commented that, that's not so much a thing with you, and you turned around and said, oh no, that I nailed it. I knew I was trying to get you to open up so that way we could try to help you out and get you up on the level that we got Bexy on here. And I'm still determined to get you there.
It's going to happen.
I have not given up on you.
Me either.
Ivania, my answer to being called a whore is whores do it for money. I'll fuck your man for free. And this is why Ivania and I are such good friends.
Love her. Oh my God. I swear she's like my soul sister. I love that woman.
Oh, exactly. I have known her, Jesus, forever. Like I was still living in my hometown back in the 90s when we started talking online. And I've only met her face to face once. But
wow.
Ride or die for her. She was there during my divorce. She was the one I could call at like 2 a.m. And I returned the favor through hers.
Yeah. That's awesome and amazing. And just the interactions I've had with her on here, I'm a huge fan. I already am like, yeah, this lady, I need this lady in my life. I don't...
Oh, yeah. Everybody needs an Ivania in their life. And yes, Ariel did when I started talking about, I have a confession. She saw, uh-oh, LOL. And then I mentioned, remember this conversation? She said yes. And then she threw up hearts after the end of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ariel,
you are an amazing person as well. You have a beautiful soul. You have more fight than I've seen for a lot of people. I mean, the chronic pain patient stuff that you do, unbelievable.
Oh my goodness. You are an amazing advocate.
Yeah, you going right to the people that are in charge of making legislation and giving them the business. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, girlfriend, you rock. Seriously. And I'm so grateful that you're part of my life.
Exactly. I feel blessed having met you and inviting you into our group chat.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm so glad about that. There are people that, people will tell you, some people will say your internet friends aren't really your friends. I have met a few people that, I know through Twitter, and they're amazing people. There are a lot more that I consider amazing, and I consider them not just friends, but my family, that I haven't got the chance to meet face to face yet, but it will happen. Eventually I'm going to get to California, and then I'm scared Eric's not going to I did it again.
Yep.
I'm scared he's not going to let me go home.
I already told you I'm not going to let you go home.
I know.
And then Ariel said, thank you. Y'all got to make me cry. Of course, I responded back, you aren't yet? Okay, time to double the efforts, with a wink.
And there's the non-bio brother I know and love.
Yeah. I've always said, I've had people flat out tell me that I'm an asshole. And I'm like, I am. But I'm the kind of asshole you want on your side.
Oh, exactly. And I do believe that your phone number is saved in my phone. And
while you're looking, Ivania said, when I met Ian in person, I smacked him. And she did. She really did.
Yeah. Your phone number is saved in my phone under my favorite smartass.
There you go. There you have it. Okay, so my oldest has me saved under Stinkman because,
Yeah, I know. I've heard the story.
I have gas issues. What's crazy is that he no longer has a sense of smell, so why he still calls me that, I don't know. Yeah, Ivania smacked me before she even said hi. I'm like, hey, how's it going, Smack? Hi, how you doing?
I don't think I'll be able to smack you.
You're going to give me a hug.
Yeah, I'm a hugger. It's going to happen. Although you have threatened to not hug me because I told you I wasn't leaving until I got a hug, and you're like, fine, I'm just never going to hug you.
Yeah, that's how I was going to hold you prisoner. I was going to use your own determination to build the cage.
Of course.
Oh man, now Ariel put a couple of the little fart cloud emojis. I mean, I don't know what else to call them because they're definitely directional.
They don't need to be the little ones, Ariel. Where's the atomic bomb of
right.
fart clouds?
And then Vanya is like, you killed his smelling receptors? Well, no. When he was a junior high, he wound up breaking the tip of his nose. And when you take nose trauma, there is a chance every time that your brain will sever the olfactory nerve. And his olfactory nerve got severed. And I tested it. It was a cold day. I was in the car, had the windows up, had it cranked up the heat, and I dropped one that had me almost in tears. He got into the car, and he stopped for a second and goes, the air is thick. And I'm like, I'm dying. So, yeah.
Great, you've made me giggle snort.
I did.
Oh, gosh.
But we do have a couple of announcements I just want to throw out while we have a moment where we're just giggling and having fun. This is the season finale. We are going to be taking, I think, in about a 3-week hiatus. That way, we'll be done before the holidays. We are going to skip Thanksgiving's episode, because obviously we don't want to do an episode during Thanksgiving. But then we'll be done just before, the Christmas and New Year's, in which we'll pick up season 4 after that. But we are going to be starting the show an hour earlier, starting on season 3. A lot of it because the people on the East Coast, man, you guys are up till 10 o'clock just to get started. And then we get a long episode like we've had for a few weeks now where it goes 2 hours. You guys are up till past midnight. And that sucks for you guys. And then for me, I get in trouble because I'm supposed to be helping to get the kids ready for bed. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's,
So, yeah, that's pretty much, that's the big change. And there is one other thing that I'm cooking on right now. Something big. And if it winds up happening, there will be a announcement on the Facebook page, facebook.com/mentallivecast. And also there will be a quick announcement. It's going to be a pre-recorded thing. I'm going to just push it out, and you may get a notification that there's another podcast episode. It's not an official episode, but it'll go into detail as to what it is. But if this works out, this is going to be potentially game changer.
Yeah.
Bexy heard about it, and she
I know, and I'm really excited. So
it's something I've been camping on since I started this.
This could be major development, and I can't wait to see what happens.
I'm almost scared. I'm not even gonna lie.
It's a little daunting, honestly.
Little?
But wow. Going back for a minute though, I can you imagine trying to do a podcast on Thanksgiving and everybody's stuffed full of turkey, and it's just, what's the podcast going to be? Just you and me, like, trying not to fall asleep into a turkey coma?
Tryptophan.
We're just going to be like rolling on the floor going, oh, why did we eat so much? Because that's usually how Thanksgiving ends in my house.
Yeah, same here. And then Ivania just asked if I've called a contact for next season that she gave me. It's another. I mean, I haven't told you about this yet either, and I'm going to after we're done with this. But Ivania has also landed kind of a whale for a guest.
Oh wow!
Oh, you know what? Ariel just made a very valid point. This would be the year to do a Thanksgiving episode, though. After all this COVID stuff, and we'll be going right back into cold and flu season when COVID's supposed to pick up, because coronaviruses do best in cold weather.
Oh, yeah.
That's a valid point. So let's just keep an eye on what's going on, and we'll decide as we get closer.
Sounds good to me. You know me, I'm usually always, you're like, hey, you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, man, sure, count me in. 'Cause why wouldn't I?
So
Yeah, I'm just, it's like, oh yeah, my big brother, even my non-biological big brother says, hey, you want to do this? And I'm like, just a little kid. Yeah, okay, come on, where are we going?
right. I mean, Bexy's that person that I could just say, no time to explain, get in.
Okay, where are we going? Yep. I'm in the car. Let's go. I mean, I think, he could call me and tell me I need to bury a body, and I'm like, all right, I'm on the phone with my backhoe man.
Yep. And I got places too. I got places. Obviously, I've talked about we've why do we kid about this every season? Like, seriously.
Because you and I both use dark humor to cope with a lot of things.
We do. We really do.
And there's absolutely, I want to be 100% clear on this. There's absolutely no intention to harm anybody or anything like that. We don't advocate for that at all. It's just, we have really warped senses of humor.
We do.
And the longer we're around each other, the more warped we become.
And that's actually one thing I did want to kind of touch upon too, for any of the listeners, because I've seen plenty of times, especially on Whisper, when everyone believes that they're all anonymous. You're pseudo anonymous if you ever go on Whisper. Just let me put it that way. But you'll get people that will talk about how. Okay, this literally happened. There was a post that said, that my boyfriend got really upset because I made fun of my trauma. Like, if anyone has a right to make fun of my trauma, it's me. And it actually sparked a really good debate because one person pointed out saying, hey, it's kind of insensitive to throw your trauma upon others. And, of course, I came to the defense of, if anyone, it's like, what about their feelings, and that maybe they're using their humor in order to try to process and cope. And it sparked a pretty big debate. And ultimately what it came down to is that some people genuinely don't understand that humor can be a vessel for not only trying to cope, but also seeking help. And just telling them to knock it off does not help.
Definitely. I know that in the past, I used humor as a defense mechanism for so long. Instead of waiting for someone to make fun of me for my weight, I just throw it out there, and say something about, my weight and how fat I was, because if I did it, it hurt less than having somebody else do it.
Right. And then Ariel just asked, how's a joke throwing it on someone else anyway? Well, the way that they were taking it was that because they made fun of their own trauma, it forces that awareness of that trauma on others and makes them uncomfortable. Which, okay, I could kind of see that, and I really tried hard to take that stance and really kind of look at it through their perspective. But being someone that's been through some trauma and how I use humor, I couldn't really side with that. I was like, look, did you ever consider that maybe it was a cry for help?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the very first time that our mutual friend saw me say something to somebody about my weight and make a joke of myself, she was like, stop it now. And I didn't understand why she got so mad at me. And she was like, I know you're doing this as a defense mechanism, but don't you see how you're feeding into your own insecurities by doing this? And I never stopped to look at it that way. I never stopped to think that, in my head, me making the joke of myself was getting a step ahead of everybody else in the world who was already going to laugh at me. But I never stopped to think that, yeah, I'm just reinforcing a negative stereotype about myself.
Right. And then Avani just came in here. If you don't want to hear it, then don't listen. If it really bothers you, then tell the person it makes you uncomfortable. Simple. And then Ariel, true, I can understand that, but agree with you. Life is uncomfortable, which kind of goes along the lines of the whole thing of when people talk about, well, I should have a right to safety. Well, there is no right to safety. You can't guarantee safety.
You cannot. I mean, you and I have had many a discussion about rights and,
Yes.
Many different times. And I have told people time and time again, okay, you are guaranteed the right to life, the right to liberty, and you are guaranteed the pursuit of happiness. It does not mean you are guaranteed happiness on a silver platter. You have to go out and you have to find that happiness yourself.
Exactly. And you also have the right to defend yourself.
Exactly.
And guess what? Words, perfectly acceptable form of defense.
Yes.
And but again, it's like, there is no right to safety because safety can't be guaranteed. Because in order to do that, you have to force others. But it is safe to assume a reasonable amount of safety. Hope that everybody respects everybody and that you're going to be safe. That's understandable. Just like the whole thing with the dark humor. You know what? If I have a very, very warped sense of humor, but I don't let it fly too often because I understand that it makes some people really uncomfortable. And
luckily for you, I'm not one of those people that makes uncomfortable because we send each other some messed up stuff sometimes.
Oh, you should see what the guy that was my best man and I was his best man, what we send to each other. Oh, Lord.
Oh, I'm sure I get the tamer version of things, but yeah.
No, I don't need, it was my fault.
You don't have to explain.
No, it was my fault. But we started a gross out war. Try to see if we could gross the other person out. And we looked for the worst of the worst. And we discovered we're just too jaded.
That's a little scary.
Yeah. It wasn't even funny. It was like we were really trying to get the other person to go. Could not do it.
Oh. That's a little terrifying, I'll be honest.
But I'll be honest, there's also a difference between seeing a picture or video versus in life, in real person.
That's true.
Like, if there's some things that I can see a picture of, I'm like, oh, that's okay. But if I were in the situation, I would probably toss my cookies.
I get that. There are a lot of things in life that thank you. I've just had a brain fog. Every thought I had just went out of my head. It'll come back in a minute.
All right. And then Ivania just said, okay, guys, love you both. Thank you for sharing, Bexy. I'm headed to bed. Work calls way too early and I'm old. She's actually a little bit older than me. So yeah. And then Ariel, you should join the Facebook group. It's a terrible day to have eyes. Oh, I'm so in.
Oh gosh, yeah, that sounds like something that's right up your alley.
It really does.
I know that it's getting late. We've been on the air for about an hour now, I think.
A little bit over an hour and 3 minutes.
A little bit over an hour, yeah. So, if anybody has any other questions, I'll be happy to answer. About anything that I've talked about.
Yeah, just put it up on the episode in Facebook. Bexy has the ability to go in on Facebook as the account and answer questions.
Yes, I will also very gladly do that if anybody thinks of something at a later time and they want to ask, or just has a random thought, anything like that. I'll always do my best to answer. I would like to speaking of things that we were talking about how the humor and affecting my own self-image and everything like that. And I wrote something new the other day.
Good.
I actually wrote this on the 20th of August. So I'd like to read that real quick. It's not very long, but this is, one of the things I'm really proud of that I wrote. And I don't have a title for it, but here goes nothing. I'm not in need of someone to point out my flaws. I see more than you ever could. If that's all you can see, then maybe you should just move on for good. I know where I'm lacking, but please understand. I'm not trying to put myself down. I've got beauty, brains, heart, and soul, and I'm pure sunshine to be around. You don't get to tell me what I'm worth. Your opinion doesn't change a damn thing. Because I know my value, my inner light shines, and I let my soul soar and sing.
That's awesome. And that really ties into something that I discovered on my own. And it turns out there's actually a quote from it, but it was, in order for your opinion to matter to me, you have to matter to me.
Yes.
So a random stranger that just says something nasty, well, I don't even know who you are, so why should what you think matter?
Yeah, not too long ago, in July, I actually took a bunch of pictures of myself and turned it into a slideshow and read one of my poems over top of it. And if anybody's interested in seeing or hearing that, I can share that to the Facebook page too, because I have it saved in my phone. And it's become one of my favorite things.
Isn't that the one that I did a reaction to, and did little pauses and said stuff in it?
I don't remember
if this was on TikTok.
Oh, it might be. I did upload it on TikTok, but I think the one where I don't know if that's the one that you did the reaction to. If you were doing the reaction to the one where I was talking about, if you're an empath, one of the best pieces of advice that I can give you is to care but not carry.
That's the one. Yes, that's the one. And we just got a yes please about you sharing your slideshow.
Okay. Well, I will definitely post that up underneath the episode when the link to it hits the Facebook page.
Right, which actually the link's already there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as soon as I start recording it, it throws it up there, which is awesome.
That's awesome. So I'll have to go add that real quick then. Because I'm really proud of how far my writing has come, and yes, I'm even looking into self-publishing my own book, because I was published finally in a poetry anthology, and that was just the most amazing feeling. And then I'm like, yeah, I really want this whole book to be mine, not just a page in it.
Awesome. And you know that your stuff is quality enough for publishing. You had someone else go, I need to publish your work.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big thing. That was, major highlight moment. I was like, I got the book in the mail and I was like, what is this? I didn't order this. And I started looking through it, and then I'm like, what is my name on page 161? Yeah, I'm that nerdy. I memorized the page number. It's on. Why am I? What is my name? Oh my God, that's mine.
Well, actually, there's published pictures of me back when I used to play taiko. Back when I was a little squirt back then, in a book called In Search of the Wild Bamboo.
Nice.
My parents actually have the copy of the book. My mom, she probably won't part with that. Not anytime soon.
Probably not. But if anybody can find a book on the internet, I can.
Yeah, it's called In Search of the Wild Bamboo, and it's about Japanese culture in America.
Cool.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, the book that I'm published in is called Upon Arrival. It's it's called Upon Arrival Hourglass, and it is published by Eber and Wine Publishing, which is veteran owned and operated, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And you're getting people telling you that you totally should publish the book, that it's fabulous that you've been published. And then Bob's like, what an amazing guest for the season finale. Do the book. And I let him know, you're more than just the guest.
Yeah.
You're a co-host.
This podcast has, I've been excited about it from the moment it was announced. I have been a supporter of it from the very beginning, and to actually be a part of it and to be a co-host now is absolutely amazing. I'm thrilled.
Oh, you deserved it. I mean, you pushed hard for me to do this too. So
yeah, I did, because I knew. I mean, I knew how big it could be, and I saw all that potential in you, and I know how amazing you are. So, yeah, I wanted you to do this because, you're freaking awesome, bro.
I'm all right.
Nah, you're freaking awesome.
Ego.
Bexy said so. It has to be true.
This is where you guys wish you had video. No, there are no plans of doing video because a lot of our guests want to maintain anonymity. So there is no plans of doing video. So that's not happening. Although there is the thought of maybe doing some screenshots of just the host and co-host sometimes, just
Man,
us being
I
goofy.
Taken a screenshot. Why didn't I do that?
Oh, and Ariel's agreeing with you about me. No, guys.
Aww.
Like, seriously, you guys, this. Look. So there's a game that I play, totally unrelated but kind of related. It's one that I've been playing since the game was only 3 months old, and I've been busting my butt on a guild that I have. And Kat knows about this because Kat's from the guild. We actually merged with another guild today, and people flat out said that if it was our guild being merged into their guild, that people were just going to quit and leave because I wouldn't be the GM anymore. So, yeah. And then the guildmaster from that other guild came in, saw the conversation, and he was a little bit floored on the loyalty. But I just try to give what I want to get. That's all. It's that golden rule.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I get that. I live that way too. If you're good to me, I'm going to be good to you. Because, and I mean, honestly, with me, even if you're not so great to me, I'm still probably going to be good to you because I know what it feels like to not be treated so well.
Yep.
And, that's my, a lot of people will say that's my weakness, that I'm too free with the, the love and the emotion and things like that. But when you've gone through so long not feeling that way, I don't ever want anybody to feel that way. So.
And I don't see that as a weakness. I see it as one of your strengths. Kill him with kindness.
I absolutely see it that way too, because, I mean, I know when I used to do debates and everything like that all the time, people were like, I could go in and with like 3 or 4 comments, kill somebody's complete response with, just my, I don't know how to put it, my outlook, my optimism, my sweetness, and their argument is completely shut down. And what can they say to me without being the world's biggest jackass?
Right? Exactly. I mean, you just come in and they're like, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's the best comparison I can come up with. They're like a mold, and you just hit them with sunshine, and the mold just withers and falls away.
I was told once, still consider it one of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten.
And Ariel just called you sunshine.
Yeah, that's me. One of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten from somebody was a mental health advocate who they're in England, but they always told me, one day your positivity is going to break the internet.
Well, it's definitely broke sections of Twitter.
It definitely has.
And Twitter is toxic. Let's not kid about that.
Yeah, Twitter can be really, really, really toxic. But, if you're on Twitter and you're tired of the toxic and everything like that, come follow me, because I post about puppies and my little brother and my poetry and
penguins.
Tons of penguins. I'm completely penguin obsessed. I think I am part penguin. They are my spirit animal. What else is? They're just like me. They're short. They're kind of chunky. They waddle. They're cute as hell.
Okay, so here's a little thing of trivia. Have you ever noticed that a penguin is the mascot for Linux, the operating system? Yes. Do you know why?
No.
I know why. So Linus Torvalds, who was the guy that invented Linux, he went down to Antarctica working with a science research team in order to get... this was back when Linux was like still running kernel 1 point something. So this was back in like the 80s, 90s. And he went out to go see some penguins, and a penguin came running up and started attacking him. Even though he towered over this penguin. The penguin chased him all the way back into the research laboratory. And he went, something that looks so cute and so non-threatening can be so terrifying that's a perfect mascot for Linux.
Awesome.
So there you go.
And
Kat just put a penguin emoji.
Terrifying, but nobody's ever seen me really, really, really angry. So.
Well, at the same time, if you have, unless you've seen what Linus Torvalds looks like, he's a little itty bitty computer guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nature attacked it. He went, nope.
I've always been the whole penguins. Always, it's just my thing. For a while. Now my Twitter handle right now is Bexy Will Rise.
Gee, I wonder where that I Will Rise came from.
Oh, gee, I wonder. Could it be somebody made a meme of me?
Could have been.
A beautiful meme. For the meme. So yeah, it was, and what's really funny is my old Twitter handle was his fault too.
Yep. And you fought it at first too.
Oh, I did. I really didn't like it at first, and then, for probably a year, he didn't call me Bex. He didn't call me Bexy. He called me Backseat. You want to tell him why you called me Backseat?
So it was a joke that I heard back when I was working at Roundtable that someone's name was, they went by the name Becky. And the joke was that all Beckys are backseat Beckys. So I started calling her Backseat.
Yeah. He's the reason I chose to go with Bex as well, because he tried to type Bex, Becks, and he hit a typo and it turned out Bex, and I liked it. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm stealing that.
Yeah.
And then, I fought the backseat thing for a while, and then finally I just gave into it, made my Twitter handle Backseat Bex, and lo and behold, slowly he stopped calling me Backseat because I just kind of embraced it and went, yep, just going with it now.
Yeah, but when anyone else talks, if I'm like bringing you up, I'm like, oh yeah, on Twitter, it's Backseat. Go look for that.
Yeah. Every once in a while, a few of our friends will still throw out a Backseat here and there.
Yep, that was a while ago.
They're like, one of them was like, "What are you doing in the backseat?" I don't know what he told you I'm doing in the backseat. I'm back there reading a book. Leave me alone.
Oh man, yeah. And then of course, like my thing, and this is just part of my philosophy in life. Is like, even if we don't get along at first and we really start to clash, I'm okay with resetting everything one time. Everybody gets a second chance. Almost nobody gets a third. And that's the way that I am. So I'll be like, okay, fine. Let's throw the past out the window. Hi, I'm E. This is what I believe. This seems to be what you believe. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. Let's get it to where we have a common ground where we use the same terminology, same meanings, and have a discussion. And if it gets nasty again, well, then I know I can't trust you, because I only give what I get.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I know people who...
Kat's following you on Twitter now.
Huh?
Kat's following you on Twitter now.
Yeah. I know people who have, come to me and they're like, how can you follow this person? They're so horrible, and they're talking about you.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, you don't know him. Not like I do.
It's like, you pissed him off.
I was like, you done made him mad. You done said something stupid. It's not my fault.
Right, but and as far as this podcast goes, obviously, like I said, I give what I get. And this year, I put it all out on the line. I expose everything.
Yeah.
And I know that could be used against me. And you know what? Go for it if you really want to. Which actually brings me back to the whole thing when our mutual friend told you to stop. because I also do a lot of self-depreciating humor, but there is a definite difference between self-deprecating because it's just funny in the moment and self-deprecating where you're actually harming yourself.
Exactly.
And now when you do it, you're doing it just to be funny, and you're not taking it to heart.
Exactly. I sent you a meme the other day of a statue's butt that had a paper wasp nest on it. And it was like,
yes!
That feeling when you have to go, but you're 2 blocks from home or whatever.
Yes.
and you're like, because you have paper wasps in your butt. And I'm like, now that ain't my butt. My butt ain't that toned.
I actually watched a video of a guy barehanded reach up, grab a paper wasp nest, stick it in his mouth, and start eating it. And I'm like, and with wasps on it. I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're on, and if you're not on anything, I mean, seriously, as far as man points go, you get all of them. As far as
seriously?
stupid points go, you get all of those too.
Yes, definitely. Not something No.
Yeah, and Ariel just said, yeah, oh my god, I saw that.
I would rather deal with spiders than wasps. And I mean, I used to have a big fear of spiders, but I don't anymore.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's because of you two. Now I find them to be absolutely beautiful creatures, and I won't, if I find them in my house, I won't kill them. I'll trap them and set them outside and let them go and live their little spider lives because they're important. I know people don't like to hear that, but they are.
They are. And then Ariel just asked, didn't he spray it already too? That I didn't see. If he sprayed the paper wasp nest first, then you know what? He doesn't get a lot of points for that because if they're already dead or dying, he's not getting stung. He's just being a show off.
Exactly.
But yeah, as far as the spiders go, I have a they're known as, everyone calls them daddy long legs. They're a cellar spider. And the ones that live outdoors aren't solid gray. They actually get little black and white marbly stripes and stuff. Then there's one that from a baby was above my kitchen sink. And all of a sudden one day, it was like nearly adult size. It vanished. Yeah, it went underneath one of my cabinets.
So you found it.
Yeah, she's still doing well. Yeah, exactly, Ariel. Not only eating the wasp and the nest, but he's eating the chemicals too.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Gross. You want to see something interesting about stings, then go to YouTube and thank you again, Eric, for introducing me to this. Go look up Brave Wilderness and Coyote Peterson and his sting pain index. Oh my god.
I still need to get that DVD.
Those are some fascinating videos that he put out, and I mean,
like, I just got curious. I was like, I just wanted to. My exact mentality was, you know what? I want to watch an idiot deliberately get stung by a yellow jacket. And that's how I found him. But by the end, I was just nothing but fascinated because it was so educational. He did it so well. You fell down
a rabbit hole of education with
I did. I do that a lot.
Yeah.
And Kat was saying wasps are actually vicious. Actually, wasps, especially paper wasps, tend to be pretty docile and tolerant. Hornets, on the other hand, not so much. Like, I had a paper wasp nest that the paper wasp actually built a nest directly above my barbecuer, and I barbecued every single day. Uh-oh, did I just name drop? Who name dropped? Somebody name dropped because we just got Kat saying name drop. Anyway, I would barbecue every day. The nest got hit with smoke constantly while I was cooking. And all they did was they just sit and look at me. They never did anything menacing. And I have a lot of friends that also, they do the same thing. They keep paper wasps around their house because paper wasps... Oh, Bex did. Because paper wasps and hornets do not get along. Hornets will sting because you got close. Yeah. Paper wasps that are used to people being around just don't care.
Well, see, I not only have, I have wasps and stuff around the house, but I also get tarantula hornets.
Oh, we had those in San Diego, the tarantula hawks.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get stung by those.
No, those hurt.
We saw Coyote Peterson get stung with one of those.
I mean, so, where there are tarantula hawks, there are tarantulas. So, yeah, I have tarantulas in my, yard and stuff like that, too.
Yeah, well, San Diego has a lot of tarantulas. I never got to see one, which disappointed me. Ooh, Ariel had hornet's nest in her fireplace once. Yeah, that's not a good place for them.
No. You know, I tend to take I try to take pictures when I find the tarantulas and stuff in my yard, and I'm like, I'll be sending pictures. Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah, and I have some groups that I go, like if I need identification, and what's funny is that, like, on Facebook too, I'm constantly getting tagged. Hey, what's this? Hey, what's this?
Yeah.
It's fun. You know, I enjoy it because I get to see what they are, and I get to, you know, do a little sleuthing to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm constantly. I'll constantly send them a picture. Tell me what this is.
Yep.
I just saw this on my car. I just saw this, you know, outside. What's it doing?
And then there's one of our mutual friends. I'm not going to name drop them, but they were in our group. They're still really close to our mutual friend that helped me to meet you. She did the video where she actually had what's kind of colloquially known as like a barn spider or a cathead spider that was in her car, had built a big old web, and she just very calmly and gently removed it from her car and put it somewhere else. I was like, fist pumping. I was so happy because most people see that and be like, kill it.
Yeah, that would have been me in the past, but not now. Now it's just, you know, catch the little guy or girl, put it outside.
I have a sheet web spider now.
Huh?
I have a sheet web spider.
Really?
Yep.
Cool.
Thought it was a wolf spider when I caught it. Nope, it's a sheet web.
Nice.
So, wow, we are way off topic here now.
Yes, we are. I'd say, you know, if nobody... We're almost, 2 hours? And
we're almost an hour and a half.
Hour and a half? Yeah.
I mean, does anybody have any questions about, like, Hashimoto's, the mental issues that come with it, or any kind of autoimmune? Maybe we could get Ariel on here so she could talk about it sometime. That's actually something I've been kind of thinking about, too, is, like, when we get someone in the comments that say, hey, I can relate, maybe see if we can rope them in while we're having the episode.
I'd love to have Ariel on and have her tell, you know, how she deals and copes with everything that she has to deal with. And, you know, there's another mutual friend of ours that has like 2 autoimmune diseases that I'd love to have on here.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep. And then also, if in the chat, I know you didn't see it, but Ivania was asking me, you know, I mentioned it that she was asking me to reach out to one of her friends or a contact. This person, just give you an idea of how influential and how awesome this person is. You know, when TED Talks happen, they turn people away in droves. You know, it's like, hey, we're going to have a TED Talk. Let's say a TED Talk. Let's just say Miami. Just throwing a city out there at random. Mm-hmm. And then they go, we need speakers, and people go crazy trying to get on. Because, I mean, it's a TED Talk. This person, TED Talk, hunted down and said, we want you to speak. They don't do that.
Wow.
They did that with this person, and this person has agreed that they want to be on the show. They want to be on this show.
That is awesome.
So yeah, that's something I'm going to try to get in season 3. Might have to be season 4 because they do book up quickly, obviously. But yeah.
Right.
So anyone that's still listening, that's coming up, and that's not the big thing.
Oh God, the big thing is so big though.
Rope them in is maybe not the best way to get them to speak with us. Okay, Kat, you actually got a point there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be great to get this person. You know, I'm just going to throw it out there just so that way you guys know. Huge advocacy person for voice for teenage suicides. That's their thing, and they're awesome. Like, I've heard stories. This person is just awesome. And I feel so blessed that we have the opportunity to possibly get them on the show. And believe me, that's my number 1 target for season 3. That's who I'm reaching out to for immediately.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, if you know, if there are no more questions or anything like that, I think we've probably, like we do, we've wandered off topic quite a bit.
This is why Bexy and I are not allowed to talk alone.
Yeah.
And this is how I help
to our friendship. What starts out as a 5-minute conversation about, oh, hey, I had this question, blah blah blah, and 3 hours later we're still talking to each other.
Yep. Also, this is my own little personal curiosity. You can feel free to say no. Wondering if you might be willing to take a picture of like 1 foot when you're not having an attack or a flare up, and then take a picture with a flare up and make a side by side to put up so people can see that.
I have no issues doing that at all.
Awesome.
It's
because I think that would really help people to see. This is
definitely something that it's definitely it's helpful, because I know sometimes I say, oh, it's a little swollen, or I feel swollen today, and people are like, it just looks like your foot. No, it's really not how my foot normally looks.
Right, and that's the thing, is that you need to have that baseline. Here's the normal.
Yes.
Here's a flare up.
Yes.
And I've seen the normal and I've seen the flare ups. There's a distinct difference.
Yes. I mean, there was a time when I thought that it was just, I would have doctors look at my feet and be like, that's not swollen, you're just fat. I'm like, no, seriously. I know that I know that I am overweight, okay? And I know that there are issues that go with that, and truthfully, I'm a lot less overweight now than I used to be.
You literally dropped a whole me in weight.
Yes. I mean, I literally have, it's around, I've dropped around 320 pounds now.
Yes, more than me now.
Yeah.
That's like me and almost a half.
Yeah. There's a lot less of me than there used to be. And, yes, I know I'm still big because I was massive before. And, I can say that comfortably because I know how, I can't believe the difference now. And if people want to see that, I will post a picture of me at my heaviest versus me now on the,
that someone's going to want that. If it's not Ariel, it's going to be Kat. My money's on those two right now.
Yeah, I'll post that to you. Be expecting quite a bit of posts from me tonight after the episode. So.
Yeah, and again, there's going to be a lot of updates going on. You know what? I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm not going to do the pre-recorded thing. Seriously, if you guys want to support us, the best way you can do that, share episodes. Go through the backlog of our episodes, find someone that you think that an episode would resonate with, send it to them.
Exactly.
That's the best way. And if you want to help us out financially so we can do bigger and better things, on our Spreaker page, under description, if you click on to expand it, you're going to see a number of links for a number of different ways. I did a bunch of different ways, not necessarily for, I'm not trying to be like, desperate. I'm just trying to make it easier for everybody else. Like if you have Cash App, we accept Cash App. If you have Venmo, we accept Venmo. If you prefer LibraPay over, say, Patreon, then use LibraPay. It's giving you options. And we also have the same information under the stories on the Facebook page as well. But seriously, sharing is probably the best way you can help support us.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
We don't have a marketing department. I run I run Facebook ads every once in a while. And I'm not doing like a ton. I'm doing like, well, here's a 5-day ad for $10, and it will get a few people. Like I've had a couple people that have listened in from the Facebook ads, but it doesn't really do a lot.
Yeah, I do my best to, share it on Twitter and everything like that. I know that there might be a couple people from Twitter that have listened. I send, links to people that have asked for it, but definitely if you see an episode that you think would resonate with a person and you think they'd be interested in, by all means share it and let them know, hey, this podcast is out there and there are people who will listen to you and let you tell your story.
Exactly.
That's what we're all about. It's a way for us to support the mental health community, which is something that both E and I are very passionate about, having we deal with these issues ourselves, and we know
Exactly.
what it's like to feel like, there's not an outlet for your voice. And that's exactly what this is. This is a place where anybody can come and they can share their story without fear of, judgment or reprisal or anything like that. And we will listen.
Exactly. I mean, it all boils down to is that you are not alone.
Exactly.
And I've had gotten a lot of comments directly to me about how certain episodes resonated with them, and it was as if they were speaking themselves, which is why the whole season 2 leading up to it, when I was blasting out stuff, I was talking about come listen and be heard. Just because you may not be sharing your story, you're going to hear your story shared eventually.
Yeah, there have been things in several episodes that have resonated with me, and I know that even going forward, there's going to be more that I'm going to be listening to, and I'm going to say, oh wow, that really hits home. I get this.
Right, and if you're watching me through the video, like if you're a guest or if you're the co-host, sometimes someone will say something that resonates with me, and I just all of a sudden I'm ststaring off into the distance because I'm just like, it hits. It really hits home.
Yeah, I saw that tonight when I saw your face when I got all emotional, and I was like, oh crap,
Don't worry about me. I'm good. But no, you're just bringing me back to my own attempted suicide, which was the first episode of this season was me opening up about my suicide attempt.
I mean, it's, there are people in my life that still don't know how deeply my depression affected me, and they still don't know that I considered not being here at all.
I went to a family reunion earlier, beginning of August, end of July, and I shared my story about the suicide attempt because I'm like, look, this is to my cousins, my uncles and aunts, my family. And many of them knew that I got depressed, but they didn't realize how close I was to being done.
Yeah, it's a scary thing when you're that close to it and you can't see any better outcome than just not existing.
And my mental state was, it's going to hurt my family, but it's going to be the last time I ever hurt my family.
Yeah.
And that sounded like a good idea at the time.
Yeah, it sounded, at the time to me, I had very similar thoughts. I thought, they'll be sad for a little bit, but it's the last time they'll ever be sad about me. And they won't have, they won't have to worry because I won't be here for them to worry over.
Yep. And now, I look at it, I had 2 young kids.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have had their dad. I wouldn't have met my current wife. I wouldn't have my kids that I have now. I wouldn't have you as a friend. I wouldn't have any of you guys that are listening as friends, those that I know personally. There's a couple of people in the chat that I love having them in here. I never met them in my life. I've never talked to them before. They just popped up. That's awesome. And that's awesome they keep coming back. And Ariel is also saying, that most people hide it well. And she also gave a wow about how much weight you lost.
Yeah, it's been a lot. It's a lot. I was big.
So yeah, at this point, I think we're going to just go ahead and wrap it up. We'll be gone for 3 weeks. If we come back a little bit sooner, like if we decide to do 2 weeks, we'll blast it out on Facebook. So please, facebook.com/mentallivecast. And we'll throw an episode up just on the podcast. Just a quick little, hey, we're coming back sooner. The last time we did 4 weeks, it just felt too long. But right now, with the scheduling, I actually have a wait list, so it's going to be pretty easy to schedule. I just don't want to have, any unscheduled episodes when we take off, when we launch. I don't like that feeling. And if that thing happens during the 3-week hiatus that I teased about, we may never have to worry again. We may have a wait list years long. Might have to do multiple episodes a week, kind of wait list.
The epic awesomeness of that is just
You just never know who you're going to meet in life.
You never do.
Yep. And then Bob, so happy you are here. Kat, I'm really glad that y'all are both here. And for anyone that hasn't gone through the backlog for the next 3 weeks, that's a good time to do it. You know, if you need fix, that's the way to do it.
Oh yeah, definitely. There are some excellent episodes. You know, they're out there just waiting to be heard.
Yep. And then there's some episodes where we had some serious technical difficulties. Sorry about that. Like when everything shut down and suddenly the internet just didn't have enough bandwidth. That episode sucked.
Oh.
God, that was a nightmare.
Yeah. But, you know, I want to thank you guys, everybody out there, for listening to me tonight, because this was, you know, truly something that, you know, being able to share my story and being able to get a little more information out there about, you know, the things that possibly other people are going through along with me, like, you know, anybody else who has ever had, you know, who has ever been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, they get some of this stuff, you know, and just giving a voice to it feels amazing. So thank you, all of you, for listening to me tonight.
And thank you for sharing. And something that we don't, you know, I'm going to tell the guests this time for once. You actually get kind of a high when you're a guest and you share. When it's over, there's this amazing rush, and it lasts for days. It really does.
It really does. That's the truth. This is, you know, I will admit I was nervous earlier this evening. I don't know why, because I spend, you know, 20 minutes before the show goes on air just laughing and talking and, you know, everything with E. But I really was a bit nervous earlier, and but this has been a really great experience for me to be able to just, you know, share everything. And, you know, I could say I love our listeners. We have some amazing listeners.
We really do. I have never seen such loyalty. Like, I've gone to other podcasts, some that have like chats and stuff, and it's just not the same. I mean, you guys remember when John was in the chats, you know, and he was like blown away. Unfortunately, he decided to pick up and do his own podcast. That he does live game streaming while we're podcasting now. Jerk. But Ariel said that thank you for spreading this topic. Kat, thank you for sharing, Bexy. And I said, you know, about the topics, like, if it's mental health related or impacts mental health, it belongs here.
Oh, yeah.
CPP. That's why I want Ariel.
We'd love to have you come on and talk about that.
Definitely.
Honestly.
You are already you're already a huge advocate for it. Let's help spread your voice further.
Yes, come share your knowledge with the rest of us. Seriously.
I mean, being a chronic pain patient, I don't have to suffer chronic pain to know that has to just wreak havoc emotionally and mentally.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, definitely. It's another subject that, you know, we'd love to have you on. We'd love to talk more about it and let you share your side of everything and how you see it.
Kat, I second that emotion about John. Which one, about him being a jerk or about him talking about how loyal the fans are here? Or both. But yeah, seriously, Ariel, we definitely want you on. Sorry that we're kind of putting you on the spot here. Sorry about that. But no, if you don't want to, that's fine. We'll find, maybe you can help us find somebody. But we would love to have you, you know, especially considering we know you and you can be more comfortable, you know, talking to your friends. You know, you don't have to talk about it necessarily as if you're talking to the entire audience. You're talking to me. You're talking to Bexy. And there's been a couple of people that have come on where they had to take on that mentality that I'm just talking to these two people. And that's fine. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Yep, and the cat is, as expected, when I said, is it this or this? The answer was just yes. All right, everybody. we'll see you guys in about 3 weeks.
Yep. Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening.